All right, hello and welcome everyone to the Devstream 115 breakdown. So today was a very mixed bag. There are a number of things that look great and that I'm very hopeful for. And then there are a number of things that I'm incredibly worried about. So let's just jump into it. First and foremost, with a very good thing, we have the Nezzer Deluxe. I'm just going to insert a clip of this here.
So he is looking top tier.
Yeah, it looks really great.
Oh my god.
So needless to say, Nezzer Deluxe will be bringing, this is the default color scheme, so of course Fashion Frame can allow you
The
to.
dragon's amazing. The dragon is amazing.
Yes.
Is it a dragon or a lion?
I think we're going to do another pass, sorry, Jeremy, on the effects, but you kind of get an idea of how they'll be implemented.
Yeah,
The
this
dragon
is-
is killer. Yeah, the dragon turned out great.
Yeah, the whole back end is.
Well, it's getting showcased kind of nice in the run cycle there.
Welcome back, everyone. I think that skin looks absolutely outstanding. I had actually not very huge expectations for that skin translating well to being in game, but the art team did an absolutely fantastic job translating that from the concept into the in-game model. I think it looks phenomenal, and I actually cannot wait for that skin to come out. Just because I think it will just color incredibly well and just be fantastic overall. So that looks fantastic. That was a great thing. And then we had some stuff on the K drive. So the K drive is going to be having tricks, and this is the hoverboard for any of you that are not aware. It's going to be having tricks, grinding, I guess kick flips, and other kinds of air tricks and stuff like that. The problem that I saw with this, and of course it is not done yet, is that it looked like whenever you did the grind, it slowed you down, which if you're going to put areas to do tricks and things into the open world, you would think that the way you would go about it would be rewarding the player for doing these things, where you go off a jump, you hit the grind, and because you hit the grind, you get a speed boost to send you along where you're trying to get to faster, to make it more rewarding, to instead of just boosting in a straight line to where you're going, to try and chain tricks together in more of a zigzag because you're building speed the whole time you're doing it. That being said, that could be the eventual intent of the K drive, and I hope it gets there, but we just didn't see that in this clip.
Because we're going to make it modular for appearance, but not functionality.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to there'll be a way to
So there's the board,
Yep.
the engine,
Yep.
and the turbines are all modular.
so you'll be able to make it look how you want.
Yep.
And then there are a series of mods for the K drives that you can use to modify how it behaves, obviously.
Yes. Speed, jump height.
Speed, jump height, some of the handling characteristics, as well as combat openers and things like that.
Yeah.
So if you,
So it isn't a weapons platform, but it does allow you to kind of come into combat.
Welcome back. I do think it looks very cool, but you can see in that clip that you just kind of lose all momentum the moment you hit the grind, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, I think that'll get fixed up. I imagine that would be a thing that, like they've said, you can mod for, and maybe it becomes rewarding just once you have the mods on your K drive. So hopeful for that, but it was a bit unfortunate to see the slowdown whenever the tricks started happening. Anyway, moving on, a thing that we've heard a lot about and then never really seen is the login rewards, which we're hearing more about now. We got a mock-up of the new UI for the login rewards, and we got some kind of tentative talk about what's going to be going on with the login rewards. So basically, they said a lot of things like you might be able to trade the login reward stuff, and every time you hit a milestone, you'd be able to pick a new reward from the available pool. So what I got from that is that you might actually have the potential to maybe pick another Zenistar and then trade that to another player for platinum and get whatever reward you want at each milestone, which is interesting. But it's going to be a thing where we have to wait and see. When we see it, we see it. When we get it, we get it. And then we can kind of assess it from there. I do hope this happens pretty soon, just to make a lot of those login rewards more reasonably accessible for more players, because I know it could be a thing for a lot of people where you look at something and you go, oh, I have to play for 700 days to get that gun, and it's very demoralizing to a number of people I've talked to. So hopefully this can patch that up when we eventually get it. And then moving on from that, we have elite alerts. So these are Very interesting. So what we saw on stream was an alert that was level 80 to 100. It was a 10-minute survival, and it rewarded 50,000 credits and 500 endo. That probably doesn't sound that great on its face value. That's probably what you would want from a 5-minute mission, but in addition to those rewards, there are also cosmetic rewards for these missions, which makes them worth it. If you've played Warframe, you know why that would be worth it. So those rewards are going to include things like emblems that get like crazier as you do more elite missions. And also, Pablo posted on Twitter with this, a ship decoration that you can get, which looks very cool. Very excited for that. And just like having rewards in missions like this, I think is just going to be, it's going to be alerts that are actually worth fucking doing, because right now there are so many alerts that are just a complete waste of your time. And having alerts that I actually want to go do sounds pretty awesome. That's also the emblems on his arms in this clip are also some of the rewards you can get, and I think they look super cool also. So I cannot wait for these elite alerts. I think they're going to be absolutely fantastic whenever they arrive, especially because if we get similar rewards, like getting like, if we get lucky and like the thing comes up and it's like, oh, this is an extermination, which is a relatively short mission, and it's like 500 endo, 25,000 credits. Also, you can get these cosmetics. That is a mission that is very much worth doing. So it could really focus a lot of players into doing that stuff. So I think that's really cool. Can't wait for that. Wasn't expecting to see anything like this at all. Great news. Things that were not great news were the things that were being used in the elite mission that was shown on stream, which is Melee 3.0 and Revenant. Both of these things looked incredibly underwhelming. And the things I'll say about Melee 3.0 is that the jacket tag was being used, and what we know was on it was blast corrosive damage. So there were 4 elementals on this weapon. We know that for certain. What we don't know is if there were even 4 other mods on this weapon, because it makes a gigantic difference what the other 4 mods would be, or if they exist at all. Like, if what we saw was the jacket tag barely being able to kill fodder enemies with a full 8-mod build, that is terrible. That spells doom for Melee. That is doom and gloom tier. Very bad. Please no. Please go back. Like, just the fuck go back meme. Just that, 100%. That's terrible. However, if it's only elementals, the jacket tag did very well. It did like really considerable damage considering it has none of the mods that make Melee good on it. So that's really the 2 ways that Melee 3.0 can go, depending on what mods were on that weapon. I did reach out to Rebecca and ask if I could see what mods were on the jacket tag. Unfortunately, I cannot. So there's that. And then moving on to Revenant, we saw Revenant's abilities being used. His 2 seemed pretty good. His 1 is exactly what I've been surmising it is, which is just like a slightly better Nyx 1, which is generally going to be an awful ability, if I'm being honest. His 3 seemed fine. And his 4, which is the point that I talked up in my analysis of Revenant in a previous video, looked like it's the unfortunate version of it. So it looked like it was doing... And I mean, looked like it was doing about 300 to 2,000 damage to the most basic bitch shitty fodder enemies at level 80. That's awful, and coupled with the fact that the devs were talking about how it compares with Mesa's 4, while it was being shown off, is a really huge disconnect, I think, for what actually happens in Warframe, right? Like, the numbers matter a considerable amount, and apparently this will scale with the amount of damage that you're taking while you're doing your 4, but Revenant doesn't appear to be incredibly tanky, so I don't know how much that would actually matter. But if you compare the numbers that we saw on stream with the numbers that Mesa gets, Mesa does hundreds of thousands of damage in seconds to a lot of enemies. This did maybe 100,000 damage total over the entire time that we saw Revenant on stream. That's a really big discrepancy between the effectiveness of 2 abilities that are being compared, and I hope that this is very much in testing on Revenant still, and that we see some kind of change to that, because the numbers we saw on stream tell me that 4th ability is absolutely useless. Which would be really unfortunate for Revenant, and I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, it was unfortunately not very promising. Other stuff with Revenant, though, we got to see this Revenant Mask. So this mask is going to be sold by Nakak and somehow ties into the quest to get Revenant. My initial reaction just upon seeing this was we're going to have to buy this from Nakak and then wear it on our operator and kill Eidolons to get him. That just seems like the 1-2 punch. It might not be that, but that's just my immediate assumption, is that would be what we need to do to get Revenant. Like it'd be some like crazy ritual thing or whatever, like how you summon the other 2 Eidolons. Maybe it would have something to do with that shrine. I don't know, but that's just the immediate impression I got, is that we would get this mask and then just wear it on Eidolon hunts, and that's how we would be able to get Revenant. But otherwise, we got probably the single most interesting thing in the entire stream, and that was a bunch of stats. So this was another thing I asked Rebecca about after the stream. She, in addition to this information, which we already have, showed a bunch of pie charts going over each one of these like pillars in more detail. That information is apparently going to be available to myself and other partners, and I will probably be doing an entire video just based on that. What this is usage statistics for the last 7 days of Warframe at each mastery level for every Warframe. It's worth noting that primes and non-primes are separated in this, so you can combine them for like full usage statistics on, say, Ember. But this is an incredibly interesting chart, and I love it when DE does this stuff, because you can see like the huge discrepancies between what's being played from like an MR25 player to like someone who's at like MR5. There's like these huge differences, and you can see parts where it's like Octavia spikes up because maybe this is like where you would be around getting access to such a Warframe, and she's like very good, and for a player that's earlier on and stuff like that. Whereas you can see for like MR25 players, there's actually a fairly even spread. Like as you're getting above like MR15, you get a really even spread of all of the Warframes being used pretty much. And I think that's really interesting. Anyway, once I get a hold of the pie chart stuff for this, I think it'd be really awesome to do an in-depth video with these statistics and just talk about why I think they are and like the reasons for such a thing. Like, for example, Nidus, his deluxe just came out. So his usage statistics for this past week are gonna be higher. His deluxe just launched. He's what's hype right now. So that matters significantly for these stats. These are the types of stats that I love, that I like wish we would see more, and that I literally cannot get enough of. So I think those are awesome. Overall, it was a fine dev stream, but obviously the stuff that we saw for Melee and Revenant is really disappointing to me. Melee remaining good in Warframe, I think, is really important, and I just really don't want to go back to the dark ages of Melee 1.0, where pretty much everything is fucking useless besides like Exalted Blade. That would be really bad. I don't want to see that happen. Anyway, that is going to do it for the Devstream 115 breakdown. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And also, if you would like to join me further today, I am going to be streaming, testing a bunch of the new AMP stuff, especially with the changes that I think just launched in a hotfix just now as I'm making this video. And I think it'll be a really good time. We're also going to maybe do some Frame Fighter, which I've not heard the best things about. We'll probably check it out anyway. And I hope to see you guys there. That is over on twitch.tv/Brozime. Later, everyone.